sticky, I guess.
They got the.
Oh, what fun!
They got. Are we up?
Yeah, that's what I had the cup there. Oh, what fun! Because we are live. It's Mikey and Vinnie on a Wednesday morning. We're going to
You
take
must
on
be.
the
You
world.
must be. You must be Vinny because I feel
Yeah,
mostly like Mikey.
yeah. I'm Vinnie, and I'm up here in rainy. Well, it seems like the rain has stopped for a couple of minutes. Seattle, Washington, and you are down in what the hell is it doing down there, California?
Sunny and around 70.
Yeah, screw you then. I got my friend in Florida is texting me because he wants me to come down there and move to Florida. And I'm like, he's texting me every day, showing me the beach, showing me this. And I'm saying, dude, you live in Florida. I mean, I'm not going, there's just no way that I'm going to Florida. It just isn't happening.
I think about it all the time because Florida was such a great place for me, not politically, not geographically, just what I did there at school, the people that I met, the friends that I made, the Goyles. It was it was a good stop. It was worthy. I'm glad I have Florida in my background.
Yeah. And see, for me, short of a wonderful vacation I took one year with my then high school girlfriend. We, I was she. We both were in high school. I think I had probably graduated maybe already or close to it. But we took a long weekend and we drove down to Florida, down to Daytona Beach, and then further south than that, St. Augustine and a bunch of other places there. And to my grandfather's old fruit stand restaurant. Other than that trip, I don't have a lot of fond memories of Florida. That and the fact that we used that as our launching pad to go to Cuba when we went to
Yeah.
Cuba. But even in the Miami airport, I was like, I wound up having to walk all over the place in all the directions anybody gave me were the wrong directions, and it just I don't know. I just don't mix with Florida. And our Super Bowl trip was good. We went down there for the Super Bowl. That was a great trip.
Great
But
trip, great game, great food. They threw a great party.
yeah, they threw a great party. The Miami Beach thing was excellent.
And we
And
didn't know it at the time, but we went to Wolfie's 23 late at night, and it was going to be the last time we were there, or last time for
yeah,
me.
that was it. I mean, I've been down to Wolfie's many times, and we had matter of fact, we ran into John Clayton that night. Remember, we walked into Wolfie's, and there was John Clayton in the seat in the back holding
Like,
court.
like a sensible fellow.
Like a sensible fella, he knew where to get a good sandwich. John Clayton, John and his
And we
beautiful
and we
wife
saw
Pat.
and we went to uh, Coconut Grove to a restaurant and saw Derek McKee there.
Right. And that was the same restaurant, if I'm not mistaken, where they had run out of key lime pie because the
Wow.
49ers were having a party there, remember?
You couldn't get key lime pie for love nor money.
They were sold out of key lime pie, and it was Marino's that we were in, wasn't it? Because years later I met Dan Marino when I was in Pittsburgh, and I complained to him
About the pie.
vociferously that I couldn't get a key lime pie, and he sent me a key lime pie. So I gotta hand it to Dan Marino as far as customer service. Um, he was on the ball.
And he said,
So
I'm sorry you didn't get any key lime pie, but we made a fortune overbilling the 49ers. They bought the key lime pie, and believe me, they paid for it.
they bought every graham cracker crust of it, man. It appeared. I
Because
remember, and I was dying for that key
Marino
lime pie.
lost. You remember the Marino lost to the 49ers in Super Bowl 19, played at Stanford 36-13 or 31-13, something like that.
It was not an embarrassing loss, but it was a beating. I mean, it was certainly the 49ers later.
I remember Gary Big Hands Johnson put a hit on Marino, took him to the ground, and then helped him up.
Yeah, Yeah, he was. Well, Marino in obviously in Western Pennsylvania is a hero.
His
He's
stock is still strong in Pennsylvania.
well, he's from there, and he played at Pitt, and arguably the greatest player ever to come out of the Pitt football program. Um, so people have a reverence for him, and I got to know him a bit because he was the morning host over on the AM side's brother-in-law. So he would come by the station um, a number of times. He has a chain of pizza restaurants back there. Quick
Marino's, is that what it's
oven
called?
fired pizza, something like that. And so he would come by hawking pizzas. And I kept telling him, "You should listen. I know you're a good quarterback, but I'm your guy to hawk pizzas. You want to sell a pizza, pal?" Except that he didn't have great pizza. I have to admit, it was a nice restaurant, but the pizza wasn't. There's a place in Pittsburgh called Minio's that just has the flat out best pizza,
And that's the end of that story.
and
You
it's the
don't
end
you
of the
don't
story. As a matter of fact, it even beats any New York pizza I've ever had.
you don't try another pizza when you know when you where you can go to get the best.
There's a couple of places that came close, Fiore's and Vincent's in Pittsburgh, but boy, that Minio's pizza, the way they made it, what they put into it, to this day, I'll swear that they put crack in the tomato sauce because you just couldn't get enough of it. You were there, rubbing the pizza on the little bit of sauce that was on the box, so you could get every dollop of it.
That's quite an endorsement, Vinny. Good for you.
It was great pizza.
This is the time of year, Vinny, where we review the musicians and actors and people of prominence who have passed in the last year, and we talk about their music, or we talk about their film, or we talk about their achievements.
I
And
thought
before
that
the
that's a little early for that. No, I mean, there's still
well,
people
it's
who die.
well, Norman Lear just joined the list this morning
Yeah, yeah.
at the ripe old age of 101. But the reason I bring this up is there's a guy named Chris Barker who makes collages. You can just barely see it. It sort of looks like the collage for Sergeant Pepper. And
Right.
in that picture, which I have on my Facebook, if you want to see it, I shared it yesterday. In that
Yeah, let me
picture, you can see Jeff Beck up front and Tony Bennett and Tina Turner and Raquel Welch. I mentioned that because you're going to want to see that picture and see if you can identify the people. By the way, Henry Kissinger made the back row. But Norman Lear's going to have to join that if he does a remodel. David McCallum, Ilya Kuryakin is on the front row. And Jeff Beck is on the front row, as he should be. Dame Edna Everage is in the front row. But the reason I mention it is so many people passed this year, and the list is not complete until Norman Lear's on there, and perhaps a few others who are fixing to depart this mortal coil.
Well,
But
yeah.
you can search for Chris Barker if you want to find that collage, and maybe the ones from past years will be available if you find it. I don't know.
What am I looking for? Oh, okay. I'm trying to see if I can. Uh, I've come to really hate computers. I mean, I'm always trying to find something, and it won't. Ah, it's just it's just not going to work.
What are you looking for? I'm by myself.
Are you still there, Mikey?
I'm here.
Yeah. What did you fall asleep? What happened?
You went away.
I went away. Yes, I clicked the wrong just as I was, but you were still going. So
Oh, I didn't realize that.
remember the old adage: if something disappears, just keep going like you're going until it comes back or somebody says stop.
Stop.
If somebody says stop, then you can. Let's see. I don't know if you read the chat. I enjoyed you and Vinnie on Cairo. Love calling in and speaking to you. That is Seattle Judy, who is listening to us. Good morning, Judy. How are you?
Merry Christmas, Judy.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, Happy everything that's going on. I was trying to get this image to come up, and it
What's it an image of?
The image that you were just talking about, Michael.
Oh, great. Oh, well, I didn't know.
Yeah, I'm trying to get it to come up with us and join us, and my usual high tech ability. It just doesn't seem to want to do what I want it to do. So, unfortunately, maybe I'll work on it and get
Well, you
it.
can find the image on my Facebook page.
Yeah, go to Michael's Facebook page. Go to Facebook and just search Michael Knight, and you'll see it there. And it's a fascinating image. I mean, and I like that they have Burt Bacharach right in the middle.
Yeah, this guy Chris Parker favors the musicians amongst us.
Yeah, prominently displayed. Let me see.
The passing of Norman Lear is a big deal in Hollywood because he did so much to alter the content of television. And if Archie Bunker found a home in a comedic home, I should emphasize, the first time around, you could do the same with Trump, but it wouldn't be funny. There's nothing funny about Donald Trump. There's nothing funny about the people who support him. There's nothing funny about the people who think that he is a savior sent by God to turn this planet into a cinder. How funny is that?
Well, I don't think it's funny at all, Michael. I mean, it's a sad commentary. Again, when I mean, we live in an unimaginable world. There's the image.
There's the image. Good job, Vinnie.
And you can see everybody in there,
including the oldest dog, which is up front.
Which I was sent to a notice of his death when I was looking for something happy. I was looking for a happy story on the internet, and it sent me right to the oldest dog dying. So, yeah, Jerry Springer and the old guy from Dancing with the Stars, Bob Barker. Yeah, there's a ton of. We lost. Did Wednesday? Yeah, that's right. She did pass away this year.
Yeah.
That's it's a fair, it's a good representation of a number of people who are no longer with us, and we will, I'm sure, we'll see some more added to this list, as you said, with Norman Lear.
I can't believe Raquel Welch died. That doesn't make sense. In what world does that make sense?
And I can't believe that that Burt Young. I mean, I thought Burt Young was dead years ago.
Well, he appeared to be dead during several of his films.
Yeah, many of his movies indicated that he was gone, but not forgotten. So anyway,
excuse me.
I'm going to get myself out of a field of dead people because I don't want to. I'm doing my best not to join them. But going back to what you were saying about Trump, I mean, it's long ago ceased to be that's funny, or that's just Donald Trump, or it's long ago. I mean, what world do we live in where a presidential candidate, a serious presidential candidate, can stand up and say, I'm going to be a dictator?
And you're going to love it. You're going to finally get your way.
And yeah, I'm sure that people will give you the nudge, nudge, wink, wink. He's only kidding around. That's the kind of guy he is.
It's a
But
joke. I told you
you
it
could
was a
say that
joke.
about the Green River Killer. He kills another woman. Well, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. That's just the kind of guy he is.
You have to understand the Green River Killer. He's not doing this because he wants to. He has to. This is part of his makeup. It's part of his reason for being the Green River Killer. If he was just the Green River guy, what would be the point of that? What would be the end result? What would be your
Well,
level of interest?
Michael, it's getting and it's easy to blame it on Trump, but it's not Trump. Trump is a symptom of it. Trump is a piece of it. But if we're not smart enough as a country to look at this guy in mass, I'm talking about now, there are 50% of us that are smart enough to look at this guy and say he's nuts, and he shouldn't be anywhere near the White House. He shouldn't even be allowed to go on the White House tour.
Have you seen any of the interviews with Liz Cheney?
Yeah, and I've seen probably all of them or most of them. And
That's her view.
well, yeah, I mean, I think it should be the view of any sane person, and I have to question the sanity of anybody who thinks that this guy would be good for the country. Now, you want to make a case to me about Nikki Haley. You want to make a case to me about even about Ron DeSantis. As much as I don't like him,
How about I'm out of my mind, Mike Johnson?
well, he's not running for president, but right now my focus, my thought is on Trump and how 50% of this country or thereabouts can look at this guy and say, I would vote for him. How any elected official could look at this guy. Anybody who's taken an oath to defend the Constitution of the United States could look at him and say that you're going to vote for him.
How many people who would support Trump has read the Constitution, have come to grips with the breadth of its scope?
Well, you should have a you should well, that's the other scary thing is that if you dive into YouTube and you look at some of these shows and you see the people that are supporting Trump, there's a lot of people there that are, questionable mental balance. But you also have other people who are not of questionable mental balance supporting this guy
Just
for
because
whatever reason.
they're just angry and they want to see the chaos. By the way, what's the Italian phrase for being out of your mind?
Tutti pazzi,
Così pazz. Thank you.
tutti pazzi, out of your mind. And so to see this and to see it destroying our country as it is, I mean, instead of finding ways to bring us together, um, we're sitting here arguing about I'm going to be a dictator on the first day. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to go after the media. I'm going to go after. I mean, he is making many people in this country question their, I don't know, their loyalty to the country,
Their place in the world.
their place in the world. Should I even be a part of this? Do I even want to be a part of this anymore?
What's your fail-safe escape? You still got a plan for BC?
Well, I don't know. I mean, part of me is a fail-safe escape. Part of me is you stay and fight it.
That's exactly it. I will stay in California, my
But
home.
I'm talking to kids, to young people, and kids. Yeah, I mean, high school kids that are saying, "I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to deal with this." That there are places where people live and they respect each other and they live in harmony. Yeah, maybe it's not a democracy as we see it, but the nuts don't rule the asylum. And
But
They don't.
that's the weak way out. Just saying, I don't
Well,
want
yeah,
to do it anymore.
yeah.
Well, nobody asked you whether you wanted to do it. It's your duty as a citizen to do it, to vote,
Well,
to
but
participate.
less and less people, I think, are seeing that as their duty.
No,
Less and less people, and certainly
they're whining.
young. Well, no, they're not whining, Michael. They're looking at a future. They're looking at two presidential candidates who are going to take either one that you elect is is going to bring more division to this country. That we're going to be 4 more years into it of not getting stuff done, of constant bickering. It's like living in a house with two parents that should have been divorced a long time ago. At some point, you just either pack your stuff up when you're old enough, or get out, or you go up in your room and you put your video headphones on and you sit there and you just try to block everything out.
Or try the Kevin McCarthy solution. You just leave your job and go on a national tour to raise money to keep you in cash for the rest of your days. What are you going to do? I'm on a tour of the country. I'm going to see America, see what America wants.
Well, the furthest he is away from any kind of lawmaking, the better the country is.
He's out there. He's just going to do a Trump tour, raise some money, make them promises, put it in the bank account,
And whose fault is that, Michael?
that's our fault.
Yeah, that is our fault. That is the people who think that we don't need good schools to educate people, that we don't need good social services to help people along, to say that I got mine and go screw you. And that's the problem.
Screw you for needing help.
Right. You're bad for needing help. You're bad for wanting help. You're bad. You show weakness. That and that the world ran best when white guys were running it.
Angry white guys that appeared to be
Yeah,
happy. They
yeah.
appeared to be happy.
The
Ha ha
world,
ha ha ha. Shake
right,
hands.
the world
Slap
ran
the back.
best when pissed off white guys ran the world.
My
I don't know.
favorite part of Liz Cheney's book has to do with that. Jim Jordan, the people are banging on the door. The demonstrators and the insurrectionists are in the Capitol building. They're banging on the outside doors. And Jim Jordan says, "Let's help the ladies to a safer place." And he extends his hand to Liz Cheney, who responds with, "Get away from me. You fucking did this." And he went, "Whoa, somebody's got an attitude today."
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't say she was on the rag.
Good point.
Yeah, good.
No, well, that's my favorite part of the story, because Jim Jordan thought he was going to be a gentleman, say, "Come on, the insurrectionists are coming, but I know a good place to hide. Get away from me. You fucking did this."
And there's another story where he was. They were doing some committee, and they had, I don't know, 8 white guys on the committee, and he went to Liz Cheney and wanted her to serve on the committee because we needed a woman for optics. We needed a woman on the committee for optics. He was, I mean, this guy's he's a flat out piece of crap. And how in the world, how in good conscience, if you live in that district, do you elect this guy? How do you walk into a voting booth?
In what world do you want Jim Jordan to be your representative?
But again, in a world full of uneducated people, in a world full of people who think the most important thing that goes on a campus happens on Saturday afternoon, not the rest of the week, that's what you get.
Funny thing about elephants, they can take just so much, and then they respond in a way that is has a finality to it and a beauty to it. It's not one incident, but several incidents of elephant keepers who were cruel to their animals, who wound up one day being knocked to the ground, and the elephant just rolls on them a couple times. And they could have done
their bones at all.
They could have done it at any time, but they had to be pushed to the point where even an elephant couldn't take any more. Jim Jordan deserves to be rolled on by the GOP elephant. That's your symbol. That's the animal that you use to symbolize the strength and the reliability of the grand old party. Those people should be rolled into a jelly.
Well, as long as you have, 48% of Americans looking at Donald Trump and saying that this is a good idea to elect this guy to the White House.
Again,
after what you saw the first 4 years, a guy who openly touts that he would be a dictator, who openly says that he's going to go after people. If you even have a wisp of this guy having access to the nuclear codes, access to our country's secrets, how could you possibly want a guy who has our country's secrets, keeps him in the bathroom of his house?
how does he stay alive? How does he stay alive with such a corrosive, negative, dark, odious personality? How does he get up every day and do it?
I don't know, Michael. I mean, he's a sociopath. He's a psycho. He's
He's
truly
excited about how evil he is.
who doesn't care, has no care whatsoever about what people think of him. Has no no, I shouldn't say that because he does. He does care what people think of him. He does care what but they have to think of him positively and they have to be loyal to him. And if they're not positive about him and if they're not loyal to him, he gets rid of them. He doesn't want people who have a different idea than he does. He
And
doesn't want.
strangely enough, Vinny, that type of personality, that type of negative, dark, black hole personality attracts lesser black holes to him. People who have always wanted this for themselves, to be loyal, to be unquestioning, to be as evil as the evil one, but never that grand, just part of the scheme, willing to do anything in response to a request. And Donald Trump has surrounded himself with those people, and he now is looking right now, according to the New York Times, for more of them, and doing series of interviews by people who are loyal to Trump, doing the actual questions about how loyal they are, about what they'd be willing to do, about what they consider to be too much, or what they consider to be a crime, or what would they do if they were asked to do something that's ethically illegal. Would they do it, in fact, for Trump? And the answer, of course, is always, without question, de Fuhrer. The Fuhrer says no babies.
Well, listen, they've proven that. Look at what Mike Johnson and that crew was willing to do. They were willing to subvert the United States government. They were
Because
willing to
it's
say,
easy.
we are in a position to take this country over, and we'll do it by whatever means we need to do it by.
And this guy felt so confident yesterday that he said, we don't want the people who stormed the Capitol to be prosecuted or to be bothered by the Justice Department or chased by the FBI or prosecuted for their crimes. If you do the right kind of crime in America, I, Mike Johnson, will stand in the way of the Justice Department. I will stand on your side. I will protect you from prosecution.
Funny, I couldn't imagine him standing up and saying that with a bunch of Black Lives Matters protesters releasing those films.
No, and wait till the police academy meets in Louisiana, his home state, and says, Mike, did you mean it when you said this? Did you really mean it when you said that you didn't care about the individuals who were committed crimes?
Well, again, if he funnels enough funds to them, they're going to keep their mouths, especially in a place like Louisiana, where they decide that we'll carry justice out on the side of the road. If we pull him over and we don't like it, we'll just shoot him. That's it.
Case closed.
That's it. We don't have to go through. It's like your grandfather sitting at Thanksgiving dinner saying, "Well, we shouldn't go through an expense of a trial or anything. We just shoot him when we catch him." We all have one of those in the family.
And he's convinced that that's the best idea he's had all day.
And he's convinced that that's the way it should go. And anybody who says that, he's going to vote for. And normally, the people that say that don't even make the ballot. They don't even get enough signatures to get on the ballot. And when they do, in a rare case, it's always in some state far away from you. It's Sheriff Joe in Phoenix, or it's what do you call it there in Minneapolis? The police chief in Minneapolis, but it's not. But they're few and far between. Now these people are in Congress. They've been elected because people are fed up with the condition of the country, and they're not, and they're not, and they don't have the capacity. They're so disgusted that they don't have the capacity, or they didn't take a civics class. They don't know that there are due processes and things that go on, and that you can change it, but the way to change it is by not being violent. The Martin Luther King stuff is out the window. Abby Hoffman is now running the country.
Americans are famous for not knowing what they don't know.
I mean, really, take it from the right and put it on the left, and you have Abby Hoffman and Jerry Rubin and the Yippies running the country. It's just that their philosophy is different. And just as they couldn't do it without the weathermen and the bombings and all of the other stuff, or the people who assassinated King and Kennedy and those type of leaders who wanted to bring something different to the United States, so now do we have these people. And the only difference is they're on the right. And we've made lovable characters out of Hoffman and Rubin and all of the left guys and women. But these people are no different. Are these people any different than the Black Panther Party?
I had Paul Krasner on my show when I was working in Palm Springs. He told the story of being in Chicago for the Democratic National Convention and being followed by the Chicago police. And there was an open follow. They were obviously on their tail. Everywhere they went, they were right behind them. So Paul Krasner goes back to the car and says, "We're getting hungry. We're going to take a break for lunch. You guys know any good place?" The cop said, "Yeah, we know a good spot." He said, "Where is it?" And the cop said, "Follow us." So from following them all day, they reversed roles. The cops led the way, and Abby Hoffman and Paul Krasner followed them. But the best line in the whole story is "follow us," which they did to the restaurant where they had a good meal, ate at separate tables, pretended they didn't see each other. And then when they left the restaurant, Abby and Krasner drove away, and the police followed them.
Probably took them to Rosebud in Chicago there, which was a good Italian restaurant in Chicago that people used to. It was in the old Little Italy, which was a sorry place because they had Mayor Daley had foisted his urban renewal plan on it and had knocked down buildings all over the place and then didn't build anything afterwards, just leveled the ghetto. That's what you get with authoritarianism, is you get people who just say, well, we'll just level the place and move the cockroaches out.
And then what? Then nothing. Leave it empty.
Then nothing. Then we'll let the bureaucracy do its thing because it's easy to blame the bureaucracy. So instead
I did my part. I tore the building down. Now you want something there? It's not my problem.
Yeah, instead of having a cohesive plan to help people, they built warehouses to put them in. They built, the Cabrini houses and all of those places where you could just, stack them up 20 stories high. That's where you put them, and then you forget about it. Let them kill each other. That was the philosophy of the Mayor Daley days.
They're savages.
Yeah, I mean that was basically it. Put them all in one place, and they'll eventually kill each other. So I don't know what the answer is, Michael. I don't have the answer. But I know what's going on isn't right. I know that if the people in the United States of America elect Donald Trump to a second term after what we have seen over the past few weeks,
Then you're going to really see an insurrection. You want an insurrection, you're going to get one.
well, I don't know if you will because people, people are anesthetized to it. They go, "Oh, well, that's just Trump." Well, it's not just Trump. it's it's the undermining and taking the underpinnings out of our democracy.
And destroying them to the point they can't be restored.
Yeah, once you lose it, you're not going to get it back. And listen, this isn't anything new. These people have been trying to do this for years. It's just that we as a nation have become so pudding-headed that we now look at it and say, well, I got my big pickup truck and I got my house and I got this, so I'm not worried about it. They're not going to come and get me. They're going to leave me alone. What do I got to worry about? See, that's the end result.
I'm on the right side.
Yeah, that's the end result of all of this. Well, it doesn't concern me. When people would stand up and say, well, if you're not doing anything wrong, you have nothing to worry about. Well, who's to judge who's doing wrong? Again,
what about all the indictments? Oh, those indictments. That's just the Justice Department. They're playing games with him. They invented it all. It's a hoax. It's a witch hunt. It's all the things that Trump says it is.
Right. If you tell people it's the Roy Cohn school of politics, if you tell people a lie long enough and often enough, they will start to take it as truth.
That quote goes back famously to one Hermann Goering of the Luftwaffe.
Yeah, it translates well to American politics today. So that's I don't know, Michael. That's today. That's what we're dealing with today.
You can
That's what
you
we're dealing
can you
with
can.
as a country.
The good thing about cyanide is you can take it in your cell just about any time you want. You're going to wait for breakfast? What's the point?
Well, again, and now you have a Congress that's playing politics with helping out Ukraine and helping out Israel, and they've decided that they're going to tie immigration to it. A thing that they haven't been able to solve for years. All of a sudden, they figure they're going to solve it in 2 days.
And it's not legislation to settle the matter once and for all. It's just an insistence that you fund something to close the border. What kind of border budget do you want? It doesn't matter. Just sort of do something down there, and
Right.
we're the ones who are going to
I
make
don't
it.
know if they should close the border or not close the border. I could see cases on both sides, but I'll tell you what, they don't know either because they haven't paid it enough attention to see what they should do. Now, I tend on, you can't have open borders, but you certainly need to know who's coming in. You certainly have to have some kind of system where people can apply to and get into this country.
Asylum is a rule.
But
it's a difficult one to honor, but it is a rule.
Yeah, but you can't, you have to have some kind of regulation, but it seems that the people that want to make this regulation want to make it so that nobody gets in except people from the countries we like.
Or period, just nobody gets in.
Yeah, or there's enough people here already. We got ours, and again, I contend that the only people that have a right to say that is the Native Americans.
And they don't have theirs. You're never going to hear them say, "We got ours."
Of course, they were here first. So I don't know, Michael. It's just sad. It's depressing.
And we're going to hear nothing more. We're going to hear nothing more, but
We're going to hear
variations on
nothing
this
but
theme
now.
for a whole year for the election.
Yeah,
And the only thing stopping him is the fact that the courts won't do anything to nail down the charges against him. He's skating on all of them so far. The courts are afraid of him. The judges are afraid of him. The prosecutors are afraid of him. The jury pool's afraid of him.
well, if we have somebody that everybody is afraid of that much, that must mean something's wrong. That must really say to doesn't that say something to you when people are afraid? If you have to rule by fear, doesn't that say something to you?
Fear first. That's
Yeah,
how that's how you become an acolyte of Trump. You have to be afraid, and you might ask, afraid of what? And the list is quite long. The best way to look at it is just about everything. Just be afraid of just about everything, and that'll get you in the Trump camp in a hurry. How you cannot be afraid of him, how you cannot see him as a threat to your very existence, is what I cannot believe. But if Americans are that dumb, they were going to come up with this sooner or later on their own.
well, we'll see. We'll see what. It's not going to be an easy year.
Herschel Walker ran for Senate. Remember that.
Yeah, Tommy Tuberville won. Remember that.
And then went to the Senate and lost his first game.
Well, I don't know if he lost. To be honest with you, who knows how much demoralization he caused in our armed services? Who knows how many people are going to get out
They won't forget him.
once uh, once they once they have the opportunity to leave. They hit their retirement. How many people are we going to lose out of service? How many people are we going to are going to say, "I don't need to deal with this. I need, how much harm has he caused
I don't
that
think it
people
can
aren't
be.
even talking about yet?"
I don't think it can be measured.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think that he truly has damaged uh, our military in ways that we won't know for a few years.
And Tommy Tuberville could not exist without Donald Trump. Donald Trump, the fact that Donald Trump he was elected president makes the side version, the fact that Tommy Tuberville exists and survived and went from being a shit for brains football coach to a shit for brains senator.
Oh yeah. So yeah, it's not. I know we like to have fun on the show, and it's funny. I came on this morning, thinking of I just want to put it all out of my mind, but I can't. You can't put this out of your mind if you're a sane person, And again, if you live on a hill in a gated community somewhere, they'll get you too.
They'll get you first.
They'll get you because it's a mental game. It's a game that knows no borders. It's a game that's designed to make you sick, to let them rule.
To draw you in.
And that's what they want. And listen, I'm not saying it's just the Republicans. I'm not saying it's both sides have done it. Listen, Obama had a chance to change things, but yet he went out and renewed the Patriot Act, which was another one of America's
Also,
sins. We
Democrats,
can try on
Obama,
whatever we want.
Democrats in recent years, Obama and Biden being examples of what I'm talking about, have decided that as awful and as evil as the Republicans are, wouldn't it be better to work with them, to get them on our side, to get a couple votes out of them? And this idea that the Republicans are going to somehow come to their senses and vote with the Democratic president, support sensible legislation, give a vote in the Senate, give a vote in the House. That idea is dead in the water. They're not there to help you. They're not there to talk with you. They're not there to negotiate. They're not there to make a deal. They're there to destroy and to dismantle.
Again, they're not there to legislate, Michael. They're not there to legislate. They're not there. They haven't been sent to Washington as representatives of their districts to make the country better.
Not at all. They and George Santos have the exact same
Right.
motivation.
Right. There may be George Santos with the resume, but you look at some of these clowns and you look at them and you say, "My God, you went to Harvard and you're that stupid." But it's not stupidity. Um it's a chance to be in the spotlight. It's a chance to get on social media. It's a chance to
Like Kevin McCarthy is just going to go on a national tour to do what? He's going to he's going to go to the same hotels that Joe Manchin went to and talk to the same people and try to get $20 from them. It's just a money tour.
Well, listen, if Donald Trump has encouraged one thing in this world, and Steve Bannon and those people, they've said that you can part a sucker from his money pretty easily. They might as well be just selling little bottles of snake oil here. Just here, buy one of these for $20. Do you see the Trump rallies when they're televised? Have you watched or have you looked at the screen setup? It's like an infomercial. You have
Yep.
Trump on this side spouting his venom, and on this side you have you get a Trump coin with a $50 contribution, or with I mean, it's almost set up like a PBS pledge break. You can get a Donald Trump. What are those things called? Fungibles or whatever. NFTs. You can get a Donald Trump MFT, LSMFT, whatever it is. If you send us $100,
I'll send them 100 if I can get a no fucking way. Is there? Do they have
and
one
you
of
can
those?
get a hat that says "Make America Great Again." If you send them 150. Same hats they used to hand out. Remember, campaigns used to hand out buttons and hats. Now they get you to pay, $30 for a hat, $40 for a hat plus postage.
What is in the snake's oil that makes it so medicinally amazing? What is it? You just rub it on your elbow and your arm's fine. What is it about the oil of a snake?
I got no idea.
Couldn't you make do with the oil of a lizard or the oil of a worm?
The way I'm going, I need the compound of a pharmacist. That's what I need. Anyway, I mean, it's ridiculous, and it's sad, and it's sad that we as a country have gotten here, and I fear that if we don't do something to pull ourselves out of it pretty soon, that we're going to be left with a country that we don't recognize.
Here in LA, we have the set of cops that investigated the robbery at the Grapevine where $500,000 or $5 million in jewels were all taken. You don't know how many jewels were in the truck. We can't get in a list of how many jewels were taken. We don't know who did it. We can't find the drivers. The cops know nothing about what's going on. Those same cops have now investigated a murder in Sherman Oaks, where it appears from the evidence that a body or bodies were dismembered. They say, "Well, where's the family?" And the cops go, "I don't know. We can't find them." Now, what in those two sets of facts leads the cops to believe that if they keep looking, they're going to find them? The bodies were dismembered, and all the cops can say is, "Well, there's people missing. How do you know? We looked. We can't find them." What about that jewelry robbery? We're still working on that. It's not a closed case. We're working on it.
Yeah, well, good luck with that.
So where are
Um,
those people anyway? I don't know. Can't find them.
well, the cops have an interesting thing going for them now, and I've noticed this now in the last few press conferences of major crimes. I saw it yesterday in I watched the press conference for that house that blew up in Arlington, and
Boy, it blew up all right.
we saw it in that Maine shooting a few weeks ago, where uh, the just cops just step up to the microphone and say, "I can't comment. There's an investigation going on. I can't comment. There's an investigation going on. I can't comment. It's an ongoing investigation. We are not. You're not. We can't tell you that right now." So they're cherry picking the information, which they always do.
Of course they
Um,
do.
but it just seems like we can't tell you is a new, larger excuse for we don't know
Well,
what the hell is going
we don't
on.
know what the hell is going on, and maybe we do know what's going on, but we're not going to tell you that either.
And I think part of this, if not a major, if not all of it, comes out of Uvalde a year and change ago, where the media people were so bad, the people that they presented to the media. I mean, who will ever forget that press conference with that first public information officer
Who
that
knew
had
nothing,
no idea what was going on
right?
and sat up there and told us for a half hour about the brave policemen that went into the hallways, and then we found out that maybe some of them weren't so brave.
You were hiding down by the principal's office.
They were like, "Not my kids," and maybe that's the most telling thing, right? Guess they're not my kids. Well, I'm not going to get myself killed for somebody else's kids.
That's the Texas rules.
But it's changed the dynamic of what we see. That and the fact that there's so many shootings these days. That I mean, here you got another one in Texas yesterday. I forget what the number was. So we got guns, we got we got fascism, we got the perfect confluence.
Don't forget the Lord. We got the Lord mixed in with all this stuff. Ask
And we
Mike
got the
Johnson.
Lord on our side. We got a Speaker of the House, the man who's third in line or second in line to the presidency, saying that the Bible overrules the Constitution.
Everybody knows that. Don't act like you're surprised. Who wrote the Bible? We have no idea. When was it written? Got no clue. And it rules over the Constitution? Yes, praise the Lord.
Yep, the Bible rules over the Constitution. I could only imagine it if Jesus came back to earth and saw what was going on that he would be so busy throwing up.
Why would he come back?
Well, that's just it.
Because keep in mind, the first trip here was not all that exciting. He was
Well,
better off when he was better off when he was when he was a carpenter. He was much better off.
it was exciting for some people, but he also learned what crossing the media and the people in charge can be.
These Romans aren't very efficient. I think we can beat them. Yeah, you can't even get
Yeah,
away from these 20 guys.
good luck with that. But anyway,
Well, Vinny, I'll make my list of rock stars that have passed on, and we can start that next week or sometime. I haven't looked at the list to complete, but Burt Bacharach is on that list, as is my favorite guitarist, Jeff Beck. If you haven't listened to Jeff Beck's stuff, if you've just heard of him and not really studied the extraordinary sounds that he could make with the guitar, as far as unique sounding, as unique as Jimi Hendrix was with his sound on the, by the way, they both played Stratocasters made by Fender. You'd have to say that Jeff Beck would have to be number two for unique presentation on the guitar. Nobody can play the guitar like he did, or the way he played it, with the wiggle bar, the tone, the volume, and the toggle stick.
yeah, it was without a doubt it was a very unique um, style that lasted. And I mean, you when he passed away, I remember looking down the discography and the records that he played on, and it was just amazing. It was an amazing group of co-conspirators and cohorts.
He could pick them.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
He had
not
a
only
great
did he
band.
play guitar, but he surrounded himself with some of the best musicians. I mean, it's a who's roster of you know of incredible talent.
Just the people who were in the Jeff Beck group when he did his first album, Truth. Ronnie
Yeah,
Wood on bass, Mickey Waller on drums, Rod Stewart on vocals. Wah,
yeah. It
wah,
was
wah, wah, boom, boom. Wah, 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 boom.
Michael. You may have a career in that. You
I
could
can do
actually
that.
sit out on the corner there on Hollywood Boulevard and just do that, and probably get discovered by Jimmy Kimmel or something.
Jimmy, well, who's that guy that does the guitar with his mouth and he just stands on Hollywood Boulevard? Why would he do that?
Some people play, some people play the mouth organ. You play the mouth guitar. I think you got something. By the way, no calls on our hate traffic format. I thought that at least Clear Channel would call us up and say, "Why don't you guys take all the AM radio stations?"
Cumulus is
If
the one that has the most to lose. But
if
then
you
we
were
didn't want, then
listening Monday,
we wind up listening working for Cumulus. That's not something I recommend.
yeah. I just want to be a consultant. I don't want to work for anybody. I want you to pay me some money to do nothing, except just tell people how to hate traffic, which should be
I
pretty
want to
easy.
I want to consult the last consultant that I had to work with at KFWB. What a flannel mouth he
Oh, who
was.
was that?
Patrick something.
Yeah, that was the guy from up here. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And you see where he took that station.
Don't take his calls is all I can say. The best advice I ever gave you, don't take this guy's call.
And what's he doing today? Working at the Triple X root beer.
For the wherever he goes, he
Which
closes
is
them
no
down.
more. I got a chance yesterday to go out to it was a chance. No, it wasn't a chance I wanted, but I got a chance to spend time, a little bit of time with my good friend Rick Riz, who lost his son a couple of
Oh,
weeks
wait.
ago, and
Wow.
it's such a hard thing, to lose a child. And his son's 30, but they were close, very close. And the only thing that was good about it, I guess, is that I got to see a number of people from kind of the Mariner family part of my life that I hadn't seen in a long time, and it was so great to see these people and to be able to spend a couple of minutes with them, especially Tim Havley and Kevin Kremen and all of us that used to work close together on the broadcast in the broadcast booth with Rick.
Right.
And it was a very because on one hand you're there for the death of to celebrate their life, but you're really there because they died.
Right.
Um, and you see all these people that you hadn't seen, and you keep saying, "Well, I'm going to make plans, and we'll get together, and we'll do this and do that," and for some reason, it never happens. And I just left there yesterday in the pouring rain. Oh my God, was it just freaking pouring up here? Um, I left there yesterday with thinking that I had to make more of a commitment to not just act with people on social media, but spend my time interacting in person with people. And
Yes.
to instead of texting somebody, pick up the phone and calling them and it's easy to text. You don't have to talk to them. You just boom, 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 and you just wait for them to text you back when they got the time. But when you get on the phone with somebody, you have to spend some time with them. And so that I think I may have gotten my New Year's resolution a month early.
I got you. Okay. Well, I'm very sorry to hear about the Riz family's tragedy.
Yeah, it was very sad. His only son, and Ricky would do anything for this kid. And
What happened? What happened to the child?
he just passed away. And it was I'll tell you, Dave Valley was there, and he spoke at the funeral, and he gave some really good words. The guy ought to be a preacher. I mean, Dave Valley ought to be. I mean, there's a guy with some electric coming out of him. He stood up and he really, because all these guys know Rick's son since he was a little kid. He's been around the baseball club that long. And it was a bunch of people who were there to support Rick and show their love for him and his son. And it was just in this whole crazy world that we deal with, it was just good to sit with a bunch of people that you knew and felt comfortable with and felt like it was a family. So that was we're thinking of you, Rick, and just you move on, man. You just move on. All right.
That's the challenge.
What?
So I said that's the challenge. We'll see you
Yeah.
on Freaky Friday, and
It'll be Friday
I hope
morning.
I'll help.
We'll try to
hope
have
it's
a
freaky,
lighter
freaky.
show for you. Who knows? Maybe even we'll have a report from Spolpakia.
That's Kevin McCarthy's first stop. He's going to Spolpakia to check out the construction of 66A.
I could see a scenario where he was buried in the concrete that they're using right alongside the exhumed remains of Jimmy Hoffa. They took section 215 and 216 out of the old Giants Stadium and shipped them over to Spolpakia to erect what they are going to call Jimmy Hoffa Stadium.
And Jimmy Hoffa, of course, is one of the famous members, but at the Jacob Javits Center, the walls are full of people that you never heard of who deserved what they got what they deserved, and they're holding up the walls right now. Thank you, Jacob Javits Center.
There's a whole section of the Javits dedicated to the people from Bath Avenue in Brooklyn.
Wouldn't you know it? No surprise there.
Bay 16th, Bay 17th, Bay 18th, Cropsey Avenue. There's a ton of there's a whole, like I say, you walk by those walls and you see, hey, get me a Spietel.
And yes, the cops, where are those guys? They say, we don't know. We can't find them.
Won't see Gino around here anymore.
All right, leave the cannoli, Vinnie.
On that note, I will talk to you on Friday, man, if the Lord's willing and the creek don't rise. And let me tell you something, around here, we're looking for that. Peace, love, and Manischewitz, baby.
What a wine. I'm looking for it, but I can't find it.
What? Say again? See you, Mikey.
I'm looking for the wine, but I can't find it.
Look in the wine cabinet. It's always in the wine cabinet, Mikey. Always.
See you for a Freaky Friday.